Okay, we'll get going. It's 8 p.m. our time. I believe it's about 4 p.m. your time. My name is Cyril Gavaghan from IT Tralee. I'm joined this evening by one of our students, a young woman from the Peterborough area who has attended Fleming College. Her name is Madison. Madison will talk to you later, and if there are any student-specific questions that you have, Madison will be happy to take them. I'd like also to say good evening to Martin from KOM and to Adam, who is managing the technical side over there, and to our own technical person who's holding our hand on this side, Mike Lean. So the format this evening is going to be that I'll make a brief presentation about IT Tralee, who we are, what we do, where we are in the Republic of Ireland, and then I'll take questions from you. Madison will tell us about her experience in the college and on the program and so on. The important element is your questions. You have a big decision to make. You're already obviously thinking of taking an international experience, and it's a huge opportunity for any student, but there's a lot of money involved, there's a lot of time involved, and there's a lot of miles involved. So you have to make sure that you have all this information before you actually make that final decision. And that's our job this evening. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask them. If we can't answer them on the evening, we'll record them and we'll get back to you tomorrow. Or alternatively, if you don't wish to ask a question tonight, feel free to email me sometime tomorrow. So, who are we? We're the Institute of Technology Tralee. As the bottom right-hand corner shows, we're about 40 years old, a little bit older. We're in our 42nd year at this stage. We're way down in the southwest of Ireland, in a place called County Kerry, where there's an international airport called Shannon Airport. Is about 1.5 hours just up the road from us. We're about 2.5 hours from Dublin by public transport. Anyway, we're down in the southwest of Ireland, in a place called County Kerry. It's normally referred to as the Kingdom of Kerry. And it's the Kingdom of Kerry because a woman that you may have heard of called Queen Victoria declared many years back that it was the most beautiful part of her kingdom, and we have traded on that ever since. We are home to some real natural beauty, as per that slide. And as per that slide, the message to the right, I'm trying to be counterintuitive here because we're seeing things different to what you are. It's from one of our students, again from Fleming College as it happens, who was with us a few years back. My experience in Tralee has been nothing short of amazing. One of the many bonuses of studying in Tralee is the ease of finding students who are far from home. The international community here is very vibrant and strong. We're a small college. We have about 3,500 students on campus at the moment. But out of that, up to 20% of our students are international. We currently have 41 different nationalities represented on campus. Probably the single biggest day of our year on campus is International Day, when all the different nationalities teach us about their country, their culture, their history, their music, their dancing, and so on. And by the time we get to late morning, they're beginning to compete with each other. This is a personal endorsement from a gentleman that you may have heard of called Luke Skywalker. The last 2 Star Wars movies were actually filmed about 30 minutes outside of Tralee on one of the Skellig Islands, though it's now more popularly known as Star Wars Island. Mr. Skywalker, or Luke Hamill to give him his proper name, suggests that the scenery is breathtakingly beautiful. Easy to believe that you're not on this earth. You've never seen anything like it in your life. Now, there's only one way that you can prove that. You've got to come over here and test it for yourself. Okay, so this is our new campus, the North Campus. Now, I say new, it's 10 years old. Tralee is a small town. We had a campus in the centre of town, but it got too small for us, so we moved out of town a little bit onto what is now called the North Campus. So this is the North Campus. It's home of business, computing, hospitality, nursing, and so on. Shortly, we're going to be joined by the Health and Leisure Group, or the FAHP Group, as you would call them in Ontario. The South Campus is obviously an older building. It remains the home of engineering and much of science, though the objective is to amalgamate both campuses in the not too distant future. These are some other shots from the college. The Picture to the lower left is the nursing building or the clinical studies building. Top left is simply an interior view of a typical lecture theatre, not dissimilar to ones in your own college. Bottom right is a scene from graduation day last October. In IT Tralee, as in every IT in Ireland, as in every third level college in Ireland, and indeed throughout Europe, we operate on the same pathway system. We have level 6, level 7 and level 8. Level 6 is a 2-year program called a higher certificate. We regard it as the equivalent of your diploma. Level 7 is a 3-year program. It's called a Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Business, ordinary degree, the equivalent of your advanced diploma, and then level 8 is an honours degree. Our objective at all times is to provide degree completion opportunities for you guys so that you can take your diploma and transfer directly into year 3 of our program, or if you have completed an advanced diploma, that you can transfer directly into year 4 of our program. So why study at IT Tralee? Number one, there's no visa required for a Canadian citizen to come into Ireland. You simply fetch up at Shannon Airport, Dublin Airport. You will have documentation to say that you're coming to IT Tralee for a full-time program, and you will be waved through as it were. Then when you register in IT Tralee at the first week in September, the college will make arrangements with you for you to register with the Immigration Bureau. As it happens, it's our local police force who manages our immigration also. So arrangements will be made for you to go to the local police station to register and get your GNIB card, GNIB. It's for the National Immigration Bureau card, or the green card as it's called. It costs, however, about €300. However, it gives you the right to stay in Ireland for the full year. As I said previously, we're an interactive multicultural community, 41 different nationalities on campus. And the Irish people, as some of the comments you may have read previously on the slides, would be rather friendly people. We will go out of our way to make everybody feel welcome, feel inclusive. So for example, if you're in 4th year marketing and you're going to be doing a group project, you probably will not be doing a group project with somebody else from Ontario, somebody else from Canada, somebody else that you've worked with previously. Instead, you'll be put into a group with a German student, a French student, a Malaysian student, whatever, to broaden the international experience that you're going to have, to get people out of their comfort zones, to learn other cultures and other ways of thinking. We're an Institute of Technology, therefore we are a very career-oriented, practical in all the programs that we deliver. We don't particularly want you to be able to tell other people how they should do the job. We want you to be able to do it by the time you leave. So you will be job ready. You won't be thinking about marketing plans, you will be developing marketing plans. In the FAHP area, you won't be describing personal fitness programs, you will be delivering personal fitness programs. We offer the Canadian student a special package. It's going to cost €10,650, but it's inclusive of accommodation. However, I will talk about that in more detail in a few minutes' time. We're also registered with OSAP. So if you contact the guys in Thunder Bay, it will be the exact same procedure as if you were in Durham College, Fleming College, St. Lawrence, St. Clair, or wherever. They recognize us the same way, so therefore you will be entitled to the assistance when you come to IT Tralee. Except on this occasion, you will be assessed based on your own means as distinct from your parents' or your guardians' means, and therefore you will be able to get the full amount of assistance. We're also registered with the CRA, so if you're a taxpayer or a taxpayer is funding your education, they'll be in a position to reclaim some of that tax back subsequently. We offer a lower standard of living, as in a lower cost of living, sorry, oh dear, a lower cost of living. One of the students from Canada came over 2-3 years back, and he was on a tight budget, so he did an analysis of everything he spent, and he figured out that it cost him about as much to live as a student for a year in Tralee as if he was in Ontario, given particularly the cost of accommodation. However, within Ireland, our research would indicate that it's 50% cheaper for a student to live for a year in Tralee than in a college in Dublin, and about 25% cheaper than in one of the local university towns, they being, say, Cork or Limerick. Some things are more expensive, obviously. Some things are a little bit less expensive. It depends also when you're comparing, whether you're comparing small town Ontario with the cost of living in Ottawa or Toronto or wherever. We have a comprehensive student services available on campus. So any additional support services that you needed as a student while you were in college in Ontario will be available to you in Ireland. The extent might be somewhat different because we operate to Irish standards as distinct from Canadian standards, but we have a counselling service, we have support services, support for students with dyslexia and so on. And also, as I said previously, we have a very friendly environment. The people, the students, the staff and so on, they will get to know you. In IT Tralee, we will tend to have smaller class groups, maybe than you are used to at the moment. The benefit of that, of course, is that by the end of the first week, every staff member will know you, be able to call you by name. You will be able to talk to them on an easy basis. All the students will know you and so on. So therefore, it'll tend to be the first student support service that's available to you. If there is anything wrong, somebody is going to have noticed it because you will have made a lot of friends at that stage. So at this point, I'm going to let my colleague Madison talk to you about her experience since she joined us last September. Experience in general and not just the weather, please.
Well, the weather isn't that bad. It beats the snow a lot. But no, I've had a great experience since being here. So, oh yeah, I'm Madison. I came from Peterborough, Fleming College, and I'm in tourism and global travel. The experience has been amazing. The classroom's size, as he said, it's actually really nice. I thought I'd be a bit more intimidated being in a smaller class. However, it's actually a lot nicer to be able to have the one-on-ones with your teachers and have them know your name because it's easier to get help that way as well. A work ready is 100% accurate. We did in our class, we had to do an event, and back home we looked at event plans, we learned the theory behind it, but here we actually had to put on an event, and the teacher was there to help if needed, but technically we had no help from the teacher because that's the way we learn best is by trying and trying again. Yeah, no, it rains a lot, be prepared, but that's okay because it's not awful. Again, better than snow. The other day, I think it was negative 40 degrees for you guys. It was plus 20 here. So, I mean, there are some positives to the weather as well. But yeah, I'm not sure.
That is a major positive, in fairness.
Yeah.
By my rapid mathematics, it's about 60 degrees Celsius of a difference.
Yeah, so.
The thing about Ireland is we don't do things in extreme. So we would never go anywhere near minus 40, -4, and there'd be national concern. On the other hand, the temperatures won't go up particularly high in the summer period. We have lovely little waterfalls as well. They're not quite as big as your waterfall. We have some lovely lakes, but they're not quite as big as your lakes. So we tend to do most things in moderation. To put things into perspective, if you took Lake Ontario, and that's not your biggest lake, but it'll take up about half the size of the Republic of Ireland. In fact, if we had it in Ireland, we'd probably call it the Sea of Ontario. So if we move on, a gentleman from Durham College some time back suggested to me that my experience at IT Tralee has been great. The welcome was the warmest and friendliest I've ever had. Tralee challenges the old saying that Canadians are the friendliest people. Now again, if you want to take up that challenge, there's only one opportunity for you. There are some things about Tralee that will be different to what you're used to in, for example, Durham College or wherever, as in we don't do Timmy Horton. So we'll have Costa coffee or we'll have Starbucks coffee, but we never did get onto the Timmy bandwagon yet. I get a message here from Cassandra Black. Cassandra, how do you apply? The closing date for receipt of applications is the end of May. And I will give you details of how to get the application form in a moment. You can do it directly online, or alternatively, I will route you through the KOM service out of Hamilton, Ontario. If you give me about 5 minutes. So, what articulation programs do we have with the variety of Canadian colleges? First of all, we have one in animation. Typically, in colleges in Ontario, you will have an advanced diploma in animation, and therefore you will leave that after 3 years, come into 4th year of our program. You will therefore finish your honours degree in 2 semesters or about 8 months. Culinary management in colleges in Ontario will typically be a 2-year program, a diploma, and you will come directly into year 3 of our Bachelor of Arts program. It's actually called a Culinary Arts, so it's a Bachelor of Arts in Culinary Arts. By the time you have finished 3rd year, and it's the same with any third year program that you come on to. Travel and tourism, you will also come into third year. Early childhood education, you will come into third year. In all cases, you will then have the option of leaving with your Bachelor of Arts in cultural, culinary arts, or Bachelor of Arts in Travel and Tourism, but you can stay on if you wish to do fourth year for a Bachelor of Arts honours degree or a Bachelor of Business Studies honours degree. In business itself, we have three streams: accounting, marketing or management. Again, advanced diploma students come directly into year 4, and we have several students already in each of those three streams. In the computing area, you will be earning a Bachelor of Science, but it'll be called in computing with. So it'll be with games development, with software development, with network management, and so on. The most popular one that we have will tend to be the software development program. Early childhood care and education. Again, your diploma students come directly into year 3 of our program to get the Bachelor of Arts in ECCE. We put the extra C in for care. The first semester of that is actually work experience. So you will come to Tralee and you will be set up in a school or a preschool facility for the first semester, and then you're in class for the second semester. In addition, we have the FAHP who go directly into year 3 of our health and leisure program, or alternatively the massage therapy students who will go on to our health and leisure program with massage, but the massage therapy students will go into 4th year rather than 3rd year. FAHP now also has the opportunity of transferring onto coaching and sports performance with us. That's a brand new program, however, on our campus. It only started last September. So while an FAHP graduate will go into 3rd year of that, in reality we won't have a 3rd year for another 2 years. In agriculture, originally we started off as a regional college, and our job was to serve the needs of the local environment, the local economy, and the biggest aspect of our local economy then, and to a large extent still, is agriculture. So we have degree programs in agricultural science, agricultural engineering, and so on. Then we have veterinary bioscience. Again, your veterinary tech program graduates go into 4th year of our veterinary bioscience program. Your diploma in music, digital music, goes into our 3rd year of our music technology program. Your OIS program graduates go into information systems management, and youth and community studies go into 4th year of our social care program. However, there are some qualifiers that have to be added on to that. So from the FAHP point of view particularly, this is our brand new sports academy. The wrapping paper has literally been taken off as we speak. The September 2019 intake will be the first group of students to go into it, and I know I'm biased, but it is a fabulous facility that we have in terms of the multi-purpose hall, the therapy pools, the massage suites, and so on. So it is something for the FAHP students to look forward to. It is a top-of-the-range gymnasium that is in it. Actually, there's 3 gyms in it, and all students will have access to those.
A couple of questions.
Okay, how do I apply? Cassandra has said we'll look at that in one moment. Victor, I'm married. Do you have accommodation for couples? What the accommodation that we talk about is for individual students, so it's intended to be single rooms. If you wanted to get accommodation for a couple, you would have to get it in one of the non-student residences, of which there are plenty throughout the town. And I'll be in a position, if you email me back maybe sometime tomorrow, I will give you a link to the non-student residences that you will be able to get double accommodation. Mariam Mesto, I applied and got accepted at Tralee for fall 2019, and I opted in for the accommodation inclusive package. I'm wondering whether the residence is going to be on campus or off campus. The residence will actually be off campus. This is an example of one of the student residences, Mariam. It's one in the town centre. There are a number of alternatives. There is one residence, it's about a 2-minute walk from campus. It means you will never be late for your first class in the morning, but you'll have to walk into town if you wanted to meet your friends in the evening. On the other hand, there's Tralee Town Centre Apartments, which is the one that we deal with most in terms of the package that we offer the students. It's a 2-minute walk from town centre. but there's a bus service to bring you to and from the campus throughout the day. So the bus stop, for example, is about a 1.5 to 2 minute walk from Tralee Town Centre Apartments.
There's also one actually that I discovered right outside the apartments. And the apartments, like, yes, it is a far walk if you want to walk. It's about, well, if you walk fast, it's about 20 minutes. If you walk like a normal person, it's about 45 minutes. And but it doesn't feel that long. And I'm one who doesn't necessarily like to walk that far. But because of all the views, it was really beautiful. And you can also, if you're staying at the town center apartments, you can rent a bike from them, and you can bike up, and it's maybe a 10-minute bike.
Okay. Pearl had just asked about the placement in the ECCE program. Basically, Pearl, what will happen is you apply to us, and when you're accepted on the program, you will then be invited to give your preference for work placement. So the two preferences being preschool children or early school years children. So early school years being 4 to about 6. So you're talking about what we call junior infants and senior infants. My colleague, Gerard O'Carroll, will then get a placement for you. He will operate on the basis that you're likely to be staying in Tralee Town Centre Apartments, so therefore you want something that's within easy walking distance of that. Placements are typically unpaid because it's one state body looking to the services of another state body. We're essentially asking them to do us a favour. However, sometimes some students will get some cash benefit along the way. However, I cannot guarantee you that there will be any cash involved. Typically in the school year, you will be working from 9 to 3. So the children come in at 9 and they've left again at 3. So therefore you have a relatively short working day. However, this year, one of the students from Canada was particularly interested in basketball, and she took over the basketball program in the school itself, and she kept the children back from 3 to 4, training them how to play basketball. Of course, the parents of Tralee loved her because it was free babysitting as far as they were concerned, and she got a chance to tell everybody about the wonders of basketball. I looked previously at a slide there about sport in Tralee. Basketball is a possibility. However, you will not get a chance to play ice hockey in Tralee. You will not get a chance to play field hockey. Our major sports will be Gaelic football, which is a native Irish game, rugby, soccer, and so on. We have a big athletics program, and lots of our Canadian students will get involved in it. Last year, one of the Canadian students was a Club Person of the Year in Tralee. The year before, one of the Canadian students was the Club Person of the Year in Tralee also. Is there a meal plan, KC? Unfortunately not. Meal planning is something that we don't do on the campus in Ireland, not just in Tralee. There are full meal facilities available to you, but not on a meal plan basis. Is there any way to receive the PowerPoint presentation after the webinar? My girlfriend is in the ECE program and was unable to attend the webinar. That, I'm guessing, will be a question for Adam and Martin over in Hamilton, as distinct from here. I prefer you'd be perfect on our basketball team. Okay, this is another apartment block. This is called the King's Court. It tends to be more for the South Campus students than the North Campus students, so it's easy walking distance for students who are studying engineering or students who are studying science. And the interior shots are just typical of kitchens, living spaces, and so on. All the accommodation is based on 4-bedroom apartments. If you're traveling with a classmate or a friend, you can request that I want to stay with this person, and that will be acceded to, as long, in fairness, as the accommodation provider has the opportunity to do it. If you fetch up on the 1st of September and say, well, we'd like to share, there's a possibility, of course, that all the rooms have been allocated. If you're coming on your own, the other 3 rooms will be allocated at random, so you could end up staying with a German student, a French student, which is an opportunity to get to know lots and lots of other people. By virtue of the fact that the accommodation is not on campus, the benefit of that is that when the campus closes down for Christmas or for the Easter break, that you still have access to it. Tralee is also, as I say, a small town. Everything is within walking distance. There's a train station in the centre of town, there's a bus station in the centre of town to give you a chance to get to know the rest of the island, shall we say, Alternatively, there's an airport 10 miles away if you want to spend a weekend in London or a weekend in Paris or a weekend in Rome or wherever. Where do you find most of the international students come from? Our biggest cohort of students will come from the European Union region, primarily because they get Erasmus funding to come to travel within the European Union. So an Irish student would pay their fees in IT Tralee and would then get a grant to go abroad to France, Spain, Germany, wherever. Likewise, we take in a lot of students from France and Germany and Spain. The other big markets that we will have will be Malaysia, China, and I would say that Canada is probably up there. Outside of the European Union, Canada at the moment will be in the top 3 in terms of numbers. So again, this is the accommodation which is closest to campus. It's called KOM. There's literally a footpath from the accommodation onto campus. Again, it's modern, so most of it will be in very good condition. The reasoning being that the accommodation is available to you from the 1st of September through to the end of May. However, from May through to September, it becomes self-catering tourist accommodation. So therefore, the student benefits from the self-catering tourist accommodation. Obviously, if the tourist is coming over and literally paying top dollar, then they have an expectation, obviously, that they will get well-appointed accommodation, and the student benefits from that in September. Will the students have to pay for the bus, or is that included in the fee? No, you have to pay for the bus, Cassandra, and it works out at about €1.50 each way, each day. What does the academic year, when does the academic year end? It begins in September, so the first day of class will be about the 8th, 9th of September, whatever that Monday is. The international students will be invited in on the previous Thursday for induction, orientation and so on, registration and what have you, and then you're ready to hit the ground running on the Monday. The first semester then finishes in the middle of December, maybe around the 12th, 13th of December. There's exams at that point, some before Christmas, some after Christmas. However, if the Canadian student wishes to go home for Christmas, you can actually leave on the 13th or so of December. You get a cheap flight before the Christmas rush hits, and you can actually sit your exams back home in Canada. It will be proctored online very closely. You will have to show using a smartphone camera that there's nothing on my table, there's nothing under my table, there's nothing around my table, and so on. And as long as you can sit there on camera for the hour and a half, your exam will be proctored, and it will magic its way across to us and be with the exams office at the same time as the handwritten scripts from the rest of the students are. Is there any way for the international students to get in contact with each other? Jessica, yes, before you come, there will be a Facebook page that you will have access to. We're just working on that at the minute. Also, KOM have a Facebook page for each of the individual Irish colleges that they represent. And when you come to Ireland, there will be lots of opportunities for you to interact with the international students. The international office, for example, will have excursions for you to the Ring of Kerry, to Cork and so on throughout the year. How much does a student usually need to cover groceries and monthly costs, excluding rent? Obviously, that is going to vary from student to student. If you take the total cost, including accommodation, tuition, and so on, the suggestion would be that it's going to cost you 20 to 21,000 Canadian dollars. Obviously, some students, if they're will make it much cheaper if they're going to be preparing their own meals, distinct from eating out and so on. What is the building called that is being displayed, and which campus is it closest to? The building at the moment is called KOM. It's an Irish word, COISCEIM, basically means beside the education centre, and it is closest to the North Campus. It is a 2-minute walk from the North Campus. So for anybody studying ECE, business studies, computing, tourism, culinary arts, there would be a 2-minute walk from campus. What does all the inclusive means? No, let me just get on to what the package is. Okay, so the inclusive package is going to cost you €10,650. In today's exchange rate, that's about 15,850, 900 Canadian dollars. Sometimes it's a little bit less than that, but there's some fluctuation in the various currencies at the moment because of Brexit. But that fee includes your tuition fee for the 2 semesters. It includes your registration fee, which includes participation in student activities, student events, clubs, societies, and so on. It includes your accommodation from from September through to May. So that covers the Christmas break, the Easter break as well. You also get emergency medical insurance for the year that you're with us. Now, obviously, if you have a cold or something, that won't be regarded as emergency. Emergency will probably presume hospitalization. However, if you do need to attend a doctor on campus, there is a doctor here, and it is highly subsidized for the students. There's also a nurse on campus on a permanent basis. And then we will pick you up at the airport on your first arrival in the country. All classes in IT Tralee start at the earliest at 9 a.m. So we don't do those 8 a.m. starts that some of you guys have to do, except in the case of the culinary arts students, because culinary arts have to prepare lunch for the training restaurant for 1 o'clock. So sometimes they will have to be in a little bit earlier. Also, for the culinary arts students, all our culinary arts students have to pay what's called a student contribution fee, because obviously ingredients have to be purchased for them. However, for the Canadian student transferring to our culinary arts program, your student contribution fee is included in the 10,650. So there's no extra cost involved there. If you have a chef uniform from Durham, Fleming, St. Lawrence, St. Clair, whichever college you're coming from, that's fine. We don't expect you to buy a new one. They're not particularly expensive, but you can proudly wear your home college logo while you're in our kitchens. Equally, if you have a set of knives of your own that you're used to, you can bring them with you. That's an arrangement that you and Air Canada, Aer Lingus, Norwegian Air, whoever brings together. I presume as long as you don't want to bring them into the cabin with you, it'll be fine. So you don't have to buy them when you're with us. However, there is an expectation, obviously, that your uniform is in essentially pristine condition. How much does a student usually need? Could you have any indication of that for how much it will cost a student to actually spend their time in Ireland?
For like a month or in
general? For a month, a week, a year.
For a month, groceries for me personally, I normally spend about 25 to 30 euro. Like, it's not too bad. Electricity, if you're at TT, like at the town center apartments, it's about the same, about 30 euros a month. Now I've been traveling a lot for most of the month, so my bills have gotten a bit higher. But I think on average, it's about, I would say about 100 euros a month would be roughly what you're spending on top of, or like as a minimum, I would say.
Okay. Okay, Chelsea has asked a question. You're looking to transfer from St. Clair's Travel and Tourism Programme. You will leave St. Clair's with a diploma. You will come into third year of our programme and you will graduate with a BA in Travel and Tourism Management. At that point, you can decide, well, I want to go back home to Windsor, or alternatively, you can decide I want to stay on and complete fourth year. And if you complete fourth year, you will graduate with a BA Honours in Travel and Tourism Management. How early will you know who your roommates are? If you have specified that you want to share with someone, you will know that reasonably early, because your application is already with us. Therefore, any request that is made will have been adhered to at this stage. Otherwise, realistically, you won't know until you turn up in September. Chelsea asks, if I choose to go to Tralee for one semester, how much do you reckon tuition would be? Basically, for the whole year, tuition works out at 8,000 euros. It's supposed to be a little bit more, 8,500, but we give a bursary of 500 euros back to each Canadian student. So therefore, for September 2019, the year-long tuition is 8,000 euros. So therefore, if you were simply to do one semester, the tuition fee would cost you 4,000 euros. It's divided up on a credit basis. You get 30 credits for the first half of the year, 30 credits for the second half of the year. Pearl asked me, do you know what it would be like for working part-time while attending Tralee? Are there opportunities available? The answer is yes. Ireland is now the fastest growing economy in the European Union. Our economy last year grew at the rate of about 6%. It has slowed down a little bit now to about 2.5%, 3%, which is a much more sustainable rate. But it means that we have now hit full employment. At the moment, we're looking to bring in immigrants into Ireland because the top 10 internet startup companies all have their European headquarters in Ireland. because of the possibility that Britain might be leaving the European Union. A lot of British companies are now sending their headquarters over into Dublin, and therefore we now have a shortage of a trained workforce. So therefore, if you're a student looking for a part-time job in Tralee, there are jobs available. Typically for the student, it will be in the hospitality and the retail sector. However, if you're in the culinary arts area, you can sort of pick which hotel, restaurant you want to work in, because they're crying out to get qualified or half qualified chefs at the moment. Peyton says that she was spending, Madison is this woman's name, not Peyton, Madison, was spending €100 a month on travelling. Are you referring to the shuttle bus to school?
I meant €100 apart from traveling. So like I've gone to Scotland, I've gone all over Ireland already. I'm going to Greece, Portugal, and Spain. So apart from all of that, I spend about 100, roughly. Probably less than that, but I'm saying if I go above, it's about 100.
As I was saying, because of the location of Tralee, it's perfect for travelling to around the rest of the island, or to fly to Scotland or London or Paris or wherever. Last midterm break, 4 Canadian students decided to rent a car in Tralee and drive around the rest of the island just to see what it all looked like. They were sitting on the wrong side of the car, they were driving on the wrong side of the road, but fortunately they and the car got back to Tralee safe at the end of the week. Is there anything else? Sorry, somebody asked me about, Aisling asked about needles for culinary arts. Yes, Aisling, if you could remind me tomorrow by way of email, I can give you the specifications of the needles that are needed. I presume you're talking about for pastry making and so on. Those are the only ones that are needed. And my colleague Anne Shine has given me a list of exactly what is required. It means that they're all available in your local supply store. You can bring them with you, or alternatively you can get them on the internet, from the internet when you get here. Cassandra asked me, is there anything else that isn't covered besides electricity for accommodation? In Tralee Town Centre apartments, you pay your rent and you pay your electricity, you pay your food, everything else is included in that. There will be a deposit that you have to pay, as you would expect, but it's a refundable deposit. As long as you leave the apartment in reasonable condition, the deposit will be refunded to you. Some of the accommodation providers also ask for a key deposit. The key deposit is simply a case of that if you walk away without giving back your key, or you simply forget to give back your key, they're going to have to change the locks, obviously, and therefore your deposit will be used for that. But once you hand back your key deposit will be refunded also. Does the International Office organise trips to visit touristic places in Ireland? Yes, Miriam. The first trip, I understand, is around a place called the Ring of Kerry. The Ring of Kerry is on the peninsula south of the one that Tralee is on. It is a rather narrow road, so you will get on a bus and it has to operate as a one-way system because 2 buses cannot meet along the way. However, that is what we call the charm of Ireland. After that, you will also get an opportunity to visit Blarney and Cork in general for another day trip. But what I understand is that some students, international students, will organise among themselves to rent a bus or hire a bus for the day, so that they will get a day trip to Blarney Castle, where you can kiss the Blarney Stone and you can get the Irish gloss on your accent. Alternatively, they will head up to the Cliffs of Moher, which are the highest sea cliffs in Europe, and they're just up the road. You can go right out and take selfies on the Atlantic edge. Are books included in tuition or registration fee? Casey, the answer to that is no, but in most cases your requirement for books will be very, very little compared to what you are used to. You see, if, say for example, I used to be a marketing lecturer, and if I was to recommend a marketing textbook to a student, almost certainly it would have been a book that was written in or prepared, published in the United States, and therefore has limited relevance to the Irish situation. So most lecturers will not require that you purchase a book. I know, for example, I checked out in the ECE area, For a student coming into third year, they will have 6 modules in the second semester, and only one of those modules actually require a specific textbook. It is presumed that if you require a textbook, it will be in the library for you so that you can borrow it, or alternatively, the material will be made available to you either by hard copy in class, or we use a system called Blackboard where the material will be online for you and you can print it off or read it online if you wish.
I didn't purchase a single book this year, and I did completely fine. The only book that we had to purchase, it was all in the library, so we just rented it out for the week, and you were fine.
Are you able to use a Canadian debit visa in Ireland? The answer is yes. It will be easier for you, however, to open a bank account locally. There is a bank on campus called Bank of Ireland, but that franchise might actually be changing this September. But it will usually be easier to have access, immediate access to a local bank account that you can transfer money across, or somebody can transfer money across to you from Canada. Equally, when you come over, the suggestion would be that you buy a local SIM card. Most of you will have an up-to-date smartphone with a second SIM slot, so you don't need to change your phone, just insert it into the second SIM slot, and you'll be able to get a cell phone plan in Ireland that is significantly cheaper than what you might be used to in Ontario or Canada. Not that it's cheap, but Canada tends to be apparently the most expensive place in the world for cell phone plans, and Ontario is the most expensive part of Canada, I understand. So it'll be one benefit that you will have. How soon will we have access to talk to the other international students you mentioned on Facebook? Mackenzie, I can't put a specific date on it, but it's something that myself and the international office are working on at the moment. Basically, what we have done so far is myself and a number of other representatives from colleges in Ireland that KOM also represent have been in Ontario, and we've attempted to get to as many campuses as we can. We're now looking to get this organised, and then after that, once we have the inquiries and applications together, we will be establishing that Facebook page. OSAP in Ontario is set up. That they will pay the school directly. Does the same thing apply? No, in our case, you will get the funding directly.
It does go to the school first, but as soon as it's paid, so by you paying, it'll go to your account. So all the leftover, which will be the whole thing, goes to your account.
Okay.
But you do have to fill out an extra form once you get here, that you have to get help from the international office to just show that you are a student, you do have certain dates. So there is a couple extra forms that if you don't see them right away, your OSAP will be delayed. So don't worry, just make sure you fill out the forms.
Okay, sorry, Victor. First time around, the student accommodations are based on one person renting a single room. If you wish to share as a married couple, then you would probably be best either you rent 2 separate rooms, or alternatively you could get a non-student residence. There are lots of other residences available throughout the town, individual apartments or houses and so on, that are available to rent. And as I said, if you email me in the morning, I will send you a link from our webpage as to the ones that are available. You will simply insert what you require, and it will tell you what is available to you within whichever campus you're going on to, whether it's the North Campus or the South Campus. Okay, in terms of further information and application, when I'm not in Ontario, our international office, essentially, our agent over there is an organisation called KOM Consultants. They operate out of Hamilton. Purely by coincidence, a new airline has just started a direct route to Ireland from Ontario, operating out of Hamilton. They actually call it Hamilton Toronto, but it means you can fly directly now from Hamilton to Dublin or vice versa. There 2 people are there, Martin, who's online at the moment, but also as a student you're more likely to be in contact with 2 people called Sue or Amelia. Sue and Amelia will help you through whatever queries you have about how to apply to IT Tralee, putting your application together, or how to put your application for OSAP funding together. The applications are to begin by the end of May. However, we obviously encourage you to come in a little bit earlier. From an administration point of view, it's easier for us. From your point of view, it also means that if you have any special requests for the accommodation providers, that you will be in a position to, you're more likely to have that request acceded to because they still have plenty of time. As I say, if it's a late application, the accommodation might be already filled up and it'll be difficult for them to move students around. Equally, there may be some situations where we have streams, for example, on the Health and Leisure programme, that might get oversubscribed along the way, and therefore you might be in a position to get the first choice. Could you repeat, now we've looked at that, is there a general number you could give us when it comes to how much we should prepare to spend and have including the package? Megan, as I say, it varies from student to student. Last year, I spoke to a group of students from Conestoga College. They had just finished with us, and one of them told me that he had spent 24,000 Canadian dollars while he was in Ireland on tuition, accommodation, and so on. However, he had been in Paris for a weekend. He had been in London for a weekend. He had set up the volleyball club in IT Tralee and had travelled all over Ireland. He had had a good time while he was here. So that's the absolute, the high limit of what you're likely to pay. Realistically, I would be suggesting that you'd be talking about 21,000 or so Canadian dollars. But that will depend on how you actually spend your time. If you want to go into the student accommodation at 5 o'clock in the evening and stay there until the following morning, you'll probably be much cheaper, but you will have missed a major part of the international experience of being in Ireland. Bear in mind that this might be the only time in your career that you're in Ireland, in Europe. It might be the only opportunity, therefore, you get to discover how the other half live. So KOM Consultants, if you require any help or advice, Sue or Amelia are there to help you, and it is at no charge to you. So any service that KOM Consultants provide to you is entirely free of charge to you. We pay them. What was your experience with KOM?
I loved it. I feel kind of bad for Amelia because she got bombarded with my questions, but she handled them all really well. And I actually, for paying my tuition, I was on the very last day, and my banks in Peterborough would not allow me to pay it for whatever reason. So I ended up actually calling her in a huge panic, and she told me I have a couple extra days to not worry and that she'd help me out with it. And I had to actually go to Toronto, which was not the greatest situation, but she helped me out in making sure I did hit all the deadlines on time, and absolutely fantastic.
Very good. Well done, Amelia. What are the main things to do in town outside of campus? Tralee is a small town, Chelsea. There are lots of facilities available in it. For example, we have a thing called the Aquadome, which is sort of an indoor fun park, water park. Students have access to that on a Monday evening free of charge. Is it €2 now?
€2, yeah.
Sorry, it used to be free of charge. There are lots of walkways available, so if you wanted to walk from town, you can simply keep going and you connect from beach to beach to beach along the way.
There's a student night on Thursday nights at Bowling Buddies, which sounds a little childish, but it's actually not. It's actually really fun, and there's like high ropes that you get to do in there, and there's a mechanical bull that you can ride.
In addition to that, there is a thing over here called the Irish Pub, and you will get the opportunity to experience some of them. Sometimes music sessions might even break out, so you'll get an opportunity to learn a bit of Irish music while you're here. For the international student who comes over to study music technology, that will be sort of part of their learning outcomes. They have to get involved in an Irish jam session before they leave as part of the requirement of the program. And I'm not joking when I say that. And then finally, this is me down at the bottom, Cyril Gavaghan at ittralee.ie. So any of you have any further questions, and particularly the 1, 2, 3 people I've already suggested ring me tomorrow or email me tomorrow, that is the email to contact me at. It doesn't matter what your question is, you're entitled to all this information to make sure that you make the right decision. So feel free to contact me or the guys in KOM at any time. How far of a walk is it from the student housing to the college? As Madison said, if you're in the Tralee Town Centre apartments, and that is the apartment residence that is included in the package that I just talked about, It is in the town centre, and it's about a half-hour walk to campus. But there's a bus that will take you there alternatively. Some of the other residences are then closer. So the one that I mentioned, Cushcame, is about a 2-minute walk from campus. The tennis village, it's literally called the tennis village because it used to be the home of the tennis club. It's about, what, a 10-minute walk from campus or thereabouts. And there are several other apartment blocks that are made available to students that are in about the same distance from town.
And honestly, the walk, it's really flat. There's no hills, so like it goes by really quickly. And it's worth it, especially if you do want to go out to the pubs or something like at night, because it's a lot closer to the pubs and it's a lot less scary walking home in the dark.
Okay, to get back to other things you can do, bear in mind that the sea is about, what, a 10-minute trip from the college campus. So if you're into windsurfing or something like that, there'll be plenty of opportunity out there for you.
There's actually a surf team in the school as well that I've gone on a few times, and you're surfing in the ocean. Welcomes beginners. They had to accept me. But yeah, ocean's definitely somewhere you want to go to.
If you're into ocean fun, there's also a thing called co-steering, where they bring you into the sea. Obviously, everything is entirely supervised and all perfectly safe, but you will be challenged in the water, as in you go into sea caves and swim under sea arches and all sorts of things. You dive from high rocks out in what we now call the Wild Atlantic Way. You will also get an opportunity to discover some of this Wild Atlantic Way. In the old days, we used to call it the West Coast of Ireland, but then branding took over and it becomes the Wild Atlantic Way. That's cool, thank you. And yes, I've heard you guys love your singing. Some of us are actually good at it. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Some of them are actually good at it. So has anybody got any more questions? Okay. So as I say, I'm here at any time that you have a question to answer, or alternatively, if you have a question that you'd like me to direct to the student, I'm sure Madison wouldn't mind if I forward it to the student and then I'm left out of that particular loop after that. However, I think Madison has had a good experience with us. She's not making anything up when she says this here. So other than that, I wish you all the best of luck in the rest of your semester and the rest of your exams. I look forward to getting a few more applications. They will be favourably reviewed, and in September I look forward to giving you a big Céad Míle Fáilte. Now, of course, you don't know what a Céad Míle Fáilte is. You see, when you come to Ireland, we sometimes drop some Irish words into our conversation as though everyone should know about them. Céad Míle Fáilte literally means 100,000 welcomes, and that's what the friendly people of Ireland will attempt to offer you. Once you're in the college for about a day or two, somebody will notice, oh, that's the guy from Canada, or the girl from Canada, and they'll go out of their way to make you feel welcome, and they're likely to say to you something like, do you want to come down to the canteen for some crack? They're not actually offering you illicit drugs at this point. We don't do that on campus. Crack is another Irish word that sort of comes in as part of the vernacular as though it's English itself. It means fun, entertainment, enjoyment. So in addition to whatever credentials you would get when you leave us, you'll also have a smattering of another language. Whether you ever get to use it or not is up to you. How much in total do you think a student will spend for the entire year? As I said, Cassandra, it'll vary from student to student. A student who had a very good time while he was in Ireland last year told me that he thinks he spent about 24,000 Canadian dollars. Other students will spend significantly less than that. I would be suggesting realistically you're talking 21,000 Canadian dollars. As I said, international education is not cheap, but you cannot put a value on what you get as an international student. Realistically, 5 years' time, you will still have the credentials that you got from IT Tralee. Whether you remember much of what was in class, up the question, but you will certainly remember your international experience. And think about it from your resume, or when you go to a job interview. I was born in a name in Ontario town. I was reared in same town. I went to college there. I grew up there. I want a job there. as distinct from the individual who was born and reared, but then I went to Europe for part of the international experience. If you come into third year, there will, in many cases, there will be work experience. So if you're in third year marketing or third year travel and tourism, you will get work experience. One semester is work experience. You don't have to take your work experience in Ireland. Some students in travel and tourism over the years have decided to go to Spain, something to do with the sun, I believe. Other students, on the other hand, have gone back to Ontario to take their work experience over there. It's not a problem. As long as we have access to you by means of Skype or what have you, we're in a position, are happy to take your international work experience. How does it work if you have a family member visiting? If you have a family member visiting, Megan, they will come into Ireland with no difficulty at all, as in they're coming in as a tourist, so they don't need a visa to come into Ireland. They won't be in a position officially, I emphasize officially, to stay with you in your apartment, so they will have to get a local hotel or local bed and breakfast, and there are lots available because Tralee is a tourist town. However, if it's at a weekend or maybe over Christmas or over Easter and one of the rooms are free, almost certainly one of your apartment colleagues will say, and they can borrow my room.
Well, I know for TTC, like I know for the town center apartments, you can rent a cot for €10. However, they can't stay for like an extended amount of time. It has to be like, it can't be for like weeks at a time. It'll have to be shorter periods. But I can only speak for the town center apartments on that one.
Chelsea, our minimum wage in Ireland is €9.60. That works out just short of about 15 Canadian dollars. And if you're working in the retail or the hospitality sector, that is probably what you would be getting. I may have missed the detail, but where do you get a request form for having roommates? Devon, if you want to share with your colleagues, and I know a number of applications came in together from Cornwall, and they were all very welcome. This year was my first time actually going to Cornwall, though I had promised I'd go there many times. So Devon, if you simply send an email to my colleague Lila, who has already been in contact with you, or to the international@IT Tralee, whichever you prefer, the request will be picked up there. So there's no official form. It'll simply send the email and we'll pass it on when we're doing the bookings with Tralee Town Centre Apartments. So that seems to be it. Let me once again thank my colleague, Mike Lean, who set us up on this side. I'd like to thank Madison for spending our evening with us. Thank you, Adam, for organising the technology on your side, and Martin and everybody else at KOM. We look forward to working with you again. And thank you, the students or prospective students, for giving us your time this evening. Thanks for all your questions. I hope we have been informative for you. And as I say, if you have any further requests, please feel free to contact me at any time. Thank you all very much, and good night from Tralee.